The way you think is the foundation for everything you do. Every action you take, every decision you make, every goal you chase, it all begins in your mind. And for most people, their mindset is not something they chose. It's something they inherited. It's a mixture of old beliefs, past experiences, cultural expectations, and subconscious programming that they never stop to question. And because they never rewire it, they end up living the same year over and over again and calling it a life. Your mindset determines how you handle setbacks, how you pursue goals, how you treat yourself, how you respond to stress, how you see opportunity, how you interpret failure, and how much of your potential you access. And the truth is, most people live their entire life with a mindset that was never designed for success. It was designed for survival. It was built in response to pain, shaped by fear, cemented by doubt. But your mind can change. And when your mind changes, everything changes. Because once your thinking evolves, your choices evolve, your habits evolve, your outcomes evolve. You start acting like the future version of yourself, not the past version. You stop running the same internal script that kept you stuck. You interrupt the cycle and replace it with something that leads to growth. This is not about quick fixes or surface level positivity. It's about reprogramming the way you think at a core level. It's about building habits, not just behaviors, but mental habits that rewire your thought patterns, reset your emotional responses, and create a mindset that is aligned with progress, resilience, and purpose. You are not a prisoner of your past thoughts. You are not stuck with your current mindset. But you will never rise above the level of your thinking unless you do the work to change it, unless you create new mental pathways, new emotional reflexes, new ways of interpreting what happens to you, what happens around you, and what you choose to do in response. Mindset rewiring doesn't happen by accident. It happens by habit. The small decisions you make daily, the stories you stop telling, the patterns you stop feeding, the perspectives you choose to adopt, even when your emotions push against them. And over time, those shifts, those daily, intentional rewrites, become your new normal. This is about building a mindset that serves you, that supports your purpose, that helps you face resistance and not retreat, that teaches you how to lead yourself through every storm. The world isn't going to get easier. The challenges aren't going to disappear, but you can become stronger, wiser, calmer, more focused, more intentional. And that begins with rewiring your mind. The first habit that will rewire your mindset is the habit of self-awareness. Without it, nothing else works. You cannot grow what you do not see. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. And you cannot build a better future if you're blind to the habits, beliefs, and behaviors that are shaping your present. Self-awareness is the starting point. It is the foundation of mindset transformation. Without it, you're not building, you're guessing. Most people live on autopilot. They wake up, go through their routine, react to the world, and then repeat. They don't stop to ask why they do what they do. They don't question their thoughts. They don't analyze their triggers. They don't investigate their patterns. And because of that, their thinking stays the same. Their results stay the same. Their mindset never evolves because they're too busy living inside it to ever examine it. Self-awareness is not self-judgment. It's not about beating yourself up. It's not about obsessing over flaws. It's about observing yourself honestly, with curiosity, with clarity, with a desire to understand, not to shame. It's about becoming a student of your own thinking, your own language, your own tendencies, so you can interrupt what needs to be changed and strengthen what's already working. You cannot rewire your mindset if you're unaware of the old wiring. You have to catch it in real time. The beliefs that tell you you're not ready, the thoughts that make you shrink, the fears that make you hesitate, the defensiveness that masks insecurity, the excuses that sound reasonable but are actually destructive. You have to see it all, not once, but every day. Build the habit of stepping outside your own thoughts. Ask yourself throughout the day, what am I thinking right now? Where did that thought come from? Is that belief helping me or holding me back? Is this emotion grounded in truth, or is it just a pattern I've repeated for years? That kind of internal dialogue is how awareness starts to take root. Awareness creates distance, and distance creates choice. When you become aware of your thoughts, you create space between the trigger and your response. And in that space, you can choose differently. You can reframe the moment. You can challenge the belief. You can shift your perspective. But none of that is possible when your thinking is automatic. Awareness is the interruption. It's the hand that reaches up and hits pause on the cycle. And in that pause, you begin to regain your power. Because now you're not just reacting, you're responding. You're leading your mind instead of letting it lead you. You're thinking on purpose instead of thinking by default. This is why journaling is powerful. Not because writing in a notebook changes your life, but because it forces you to slow down and see what's really going on. When you write, you see your patterns. You begin to identify the phrases you always use, the complaints you always return to, the fears that keep resurfacing. And when you see them, you can challenge them. You can rewrite them. You can dismantle them. Self-awareness helps you understand your triggers. What sets you off? What makes you shrink? What makes you feel small, threatened, defensive, insecure? Those triggers are not random. They're rooted in something: a wound, a story, a fear, a belief. And if you never trace them to their root, they will keep controlling your life. But once you identify the pattern, you can prepare for it. You can disrupt it. You can decide in advance how you'll respond the next time it shows up. And that single decision, the ability to respond intentionally instead of react emotionally, is what starts to rewire the mind. Self-awareness is about your language. The words you use shape the way you think. If you say, "I always mess this up," your brain believes you. If you say, "I never figure this out," your brain listens. If you say, "This always happens to me," your brain prepares for it again. Words are not neutral. They are commands. And most people don't realize how often they're programming themselves with negative instructions. Pay attention to your words, the ones you say out loud and the ones you whisper to yourself when no one's listening. Are they rooted in limitation or possibility? Are they building your belief or destroying it? Are they reinforcing growth or reinforcing fear? Every phrase matters. Every word is a brick in the wall of your mindset. This is not about being positive all the time. It's about being intentional. It's about catching the language of doubt and replacing it with the language of power. It's about noticing when you're slipping into victimhood and pulling yourself back into ownership. Because mindset rewiring is not just about big breakthroughs. It's about small moments of awareness repeated over and over again. And over time, that awareness becomes your new baseline. You stop being surprised by your patterns. You start predicting them. You stop getting stuck in the same thoughts. You start outgrowing them. You stop believing everything your mind says. You start leading your mind instead. That is the habit of self-awareness. Not something you do once, but something you practice every day. In conversation, in discomfort, in decision-making, in rest. It becomes the foundation you build every other habit on. Because until you see clearly, you cannot choose wisely. And when you see yourself clearly, you begin to live with power, with perspective, with purpose. The second habit that will rewire your mindset is the habit of reframing. Reframing is the ability to look at the same situation with a different lens. It's the mental skill that allows you to turn setbacks into setups, pain into purpose, failure into feedback, and resistance into growth. Most people don't have this skill. They live in reaction. They let circumstances define their interpretation. They let their first emotional response become the final story. But your life is not shaped by what happens to you. It's shaped by what you tell yourself about what happens to you. Two people can go through the same struggle. One will grow from it, the other will be crushed by it. One will use it to fuel their future. The other will use it as a reason to give up. The difference isn't in the event, it's in the meaning they assign to it. That's the power of reframing. Reframing isn't about pretending. It's not about denying reality. It's not about pretending everything is positive when it's not. It's about taking control of the narrative. It's about choosing a perspective that empowers you instead of paralyzing you. It's about recognizing that while you may not choose what happens, you always choose how to interpret it. This habit rewires your mindset by creating new mental associations. Instead of seeing failure as proof you're not enough, you start seeing it as proof you're growing. Instead of seeing resistance as a sign you should stop, you start seeing it as a signal that you're on the edge of a breakthrough. Instead of seeing discomfort as something to avoid, you start seeing it as something to embrace. Because every time you reframe, you change your relationship with challenge. Your brain is constantly looking for patterns. It wants to understand, categorize, label. But if you don't take the lead, your brain will default to safety. It will interpret pain as danger. It will interpret difficulty as a threat. And unless you interrupt that pattern, you will always retreat when you should be rising. Reframing is that interruption. It's the mental pause that gives you space to ask, what else could this mean? What can I learn from this? How is this happening for me instead of to me? What strength is being developed right now? Those questions change everything because they take you from victim to leader, from reaction to creation. And you don't need perfect answers. You just need better questions. You need to train your mind to step back before it spirals. You need to build the habit of challenging your first reaction, because that reaction is often emotional. It's primal. It's rooted in fear. But your second thought, if you slow down long enough to find it, can be powerful. It can be wise. It can be the beginning of a breakthrough. This habit is especially important when things go wrong, when your plan falls apart, when your effort doesn't pay off, when someone lets you down, when you make a mistake. That's when reframing matters most, because that's when your brain wants to tell you a story of failure, of shame, of defeat. And if you believe that story, you'll start living it. But if you catch it, if you reframe it, you write a new story. You say, this didn't work, but I've learned something I didn't know before. I didn't get the outcome I wanted, but I got a lesson I needed. This hurts, but I'm becoming stronger through it. This isn't the end, it's the beginning of something better. Those reframes don't change the facts, but they change your focus, and your focus changes your feelings. and your feelings change your behavior, and your behavior changes your outcome. Reframing is not a one-time skill. It's a daily habit. It's something you build over time. It's something you practice in the small moments, so it's strong in the big ones. You reframe when the meeting gets canceled. You reframe when the traffic is heavy. You reframe when someone criticizes you. You reframe when you feel behind. Because the more you practice it, the more automatic it becomes. And eventually, you become the kind of person who always finds the advantage, who always finds the growth, who always finds the path forward. Not because life gets easier, but because your lens gets sharper. Your mindset gets stronger. Your narrative gets more empowering. Think about the stories you've been telling yourself. Are they helping you grow? Are they moving you forward? Are they built on truth or emotion? Are they based on fear or on faith? And if they're not serving you, are you willing to rewrite them? Because that is your power. The power to decide that no matter what happens, you will not let a temporary situation become a permanent identity. This is not about being fake. This is not about denying hardship. This is about choosing a mindset that gives you strength, choosing a perspective that keeps you in motion, choosing a story that makes you powerful. And once you make that choice, every situation becomes an opportunity. Every setback becomes a setup. Every challenge becomes a classroom. Every day becomes a chance to grow. The third habit that will rewire your mindset is the habit of deliberate self-talk. Most people don't realize it, but the most influential voice in their life is the one inside their own head. That voice is always speaking. It's always narrating. It's always interpreting your circumstances, measuring your worth, defining what's possible, and deciding what you deserve. The problem is, most of that talk happens unconsciously. It runs on loops, old scripts that were written by past failures, childhood experiences, fear, shame, and insecurity. If you don't take control of that voice, it will run your life. It will tell you you're not ready. It will tell you you're not good enough. It will remind you of every mistake, every failure, every flaw. And the more you listen to it without questioning it, the more you start living like it's true. You stop trying, you stop risking, you shrink to fit the story, and slowly, silently, you begin to settle. But the mind doesn't care about what's true. It cares about what's familiar. If your familiar pattern is negative self-talk, your brain will repeat it until it becomes your reality. That's why mindset doesn't change by accident. It changes by design. You must take responsibility for your internal dialogue. You must create a habit of speaking to yourself in ways that reinforce your identity, your purpose, and your strength. This is not about shallow affirmations. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about shifting from criticism to coaching. It's about becoming the kind of voice in your own head that you wish someone else would be for you. Encouraging, clear, grounded, focused, real. When you mess up, the old voice says, "I can't believe you did that." The new voice says, "That was a mistake. Here's how we fix it." When you feel overwhelmed, the old voice says, "You're never going to figure this out." The new voice says, "This is tough, but you've handled hard things before." When you want to quit, the old voice says, "You always give up." The new voice says, "You're building endurance. One more step. Let's go." You don't have to pretend everything is great, but you do have to protect your language, because your words shape your belief, and your belief shapes your behavior, and your behavior shapes your future. You cannot create a powerful life with a powerless internal voice. So start listening to yourself, really listening. Pay attention to how you speak in moments of pressure, in moments of silence, in moments of doubt. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, you need to change it. Because that voice doesn't just talk, it builds. It builds mindset. It builds identity. It builds outcomes. Make deliberate self-talk a daily practice, not once in a while. Not just when things are hard, every single day. In the morning, set your tone. Throughout the day, recalibrate your direction. In the evening, reaffirm your progress. You don't have to scream affirmations in the mirror, but you do have to become intentional, conscious, focused. Your thoughts are not random. They are trained. You either train them with intention, or they get trained by fear, by culture, by criticism, by the voice of your past. But when you begin to retrain your thoughts, when you build the habit of choosing empowering self-talk over automatic negativity, you start to take control. This won't feel natural at first, because your old mindset is loud. It's practiced. It's familiar. But keep going. Keep rewriting. Keep interrupting the story. You'll get better at it, stronger, faster. Eventually, you won't just be reacting with new thoughts. You'll be responding with new instincts. You'll become the kind of person who instinctively speaks life, who knows how to lead yourself out of darkness, who can motivate yourself through storms. Because here's the truth. Every high achiever you admire has mastered self-talk. They may not call it that. They may not explain it. But they've learned how to lead their mind, how to reframe pressure, how to block out noise, how to reinforce belief when results are slow. And that doesn't happen through talent. It happens through repetition, through habit, through choice. This is your moment to choose. Choose words that build. Choose language that leads. Choose phrases that shift your mindset from fear to focus, from doubt to discipline, from hesitation to action. The words don't have to be perfect. They just have to be powerful. And power comes from repetition. So write down the kind of things you want to say to yourself. Keep them close. Repeat them until they feel real. Anchor them to your actions. Don't just say you're strong, train like it. Don't just say you're consistent, act like it. Don't just say you're resilient, keep going when it's hard. Because when your words and your behavior align, your mindset transforms. Rewiring your mindset doesn't mean you never hear the old voice again. It means you've trained a new one to be louder. It means you've created a new default, one that doesn't quit, one that doesn't shrink, one that knows how to lead itself no matter what's happening. And that kind of mindset, that's not hype. That's not luck. That's a habit. The fourth habit that will rewire your mindset is the habit of delayed gratification. This is the practice of resisting the easy now in order to create something better later. It's the discipline of choosing the long game over the quick win, the uncomfortable progress over the comfortable escape. It's the ability to delay the dopamine hit, to hold off the impulse, to sacrifice short-term ease for long-term excellence. And almost no one does it. Most people are wired for now. They want results now, comfort now, pleasure now, validation now. And because of that, they make decisions that serve the moment, but sabotage their future. They say yes to junk food and no to health. They say yes to distraction and no to progress. They say yes to instant relief and no to lasting reward. But the people who build powerful mindsets, who live lives filled with clarity, strength, and purpose, They've trained themselves to delay, to pause, to think beyond the moment, not because they enjoy struggle, but because they've learned to trust the process more than the payoff. The ability to delay gratification is a mindset multiplier. It sharpens your focus. It strengthens your self-control. It rewires your brain to connect with your future self instead of constantly reacting to the impulses of the present. That connection to who you want to become is the foundation of mental resilience. You build this habit by making it a daily exercise. You don't start with massive sacrifices. You start by creating a pattern, a new reward system. You tell yourself, I can enjoy this after I've done the work. I'll check that out after I finish the chapter. I'll take a break after I've hit my target. These small choices compound. They teach your brain that rewards follow effort, that progress earns satisfaction. That feeling good is most powerful when it's preceded by discipline. The strongest minds are not those who never feel temptation. They're the ones who've trained themselves to wait, who've learned to crave the satisfaction of consistency over the thrill of indulgence, who would rather feel proud at the end of the day than comfortable in the middle of it. Every time you delay gratification, you build a deeper connection to your long-term goals. You reinforce the identity of someone who follows through. And that reinforcement rewires your habits. It reshapes your beliefs. You start seeing hard things not as punishment, but as investment. You stop needing immediate relief because you know what you're building is worth the wait. This habit teaches you to love the process. When you stop living for the outcome and start falling in love with the grind, everything changes. Because the truth is, you will spend far more time in the work than in the reward. The reward is a moment. The process is your life. And if you can train yourself to enjoy the effort, the growth, the discipline, you'll win no matter what. Delayed gratification isn't about suffering. It's about self-mastery. It's about stepping into the driver's seat, saying, I'm in control of this moment. I choose what serves me, not just now, but long term. And that level of control creates power, a calm confidence, a sense of alignment, because now you're not just reacting to life, you're creating it. This habit eliminates regret, because the truth is, most people don't regret what they didn't do. They regret what they did too quickly, the things they rushed, the shortcuts they took, the days they wasted, the work they avoided. They look back wishing they had been stronger, more patient, more intentional, and that regret stacks. But when you train yourself to wait, to invest your time and energy in things that matter, you eliminate that regret. You look back and see growth, not avoidance. You see consistency, not chaos. You see a mindset that was built on self-leadership. And self-leadership is the rarest and most powerful kind of leadership. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. You can't build anything great if you're a slave to impulse. You can't reach your highest level if every decision you make is based on what feels good right now. But when you build the habit of delayed gratification, you rise. You separate yourself. You unlock levels of clarity and control that most people will never know. This isn't a natural skill. It's a trained one. It's built through repetition, through small acts of resistance, through the discipline of choosing what serves your future over what soothes your present. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. You build momentum. You build strength. You begin to trust yourself at a deeper level. So look at your day. Where are you choosing comfort over progress? Where are you indulging when you should be investing? Where are you making decisions based on emotion instead of vision. Those are the places where your mindset is being shaped. Every time you make the harder choice, the better choice, you sharpen your edge. You strengthen your resolve. You become someone who doesn't fold under pressure. Delayed gratification is not a punishment. It's a gift to your future self. A message that says, you're worth the wait. You're worth the effort. You're worth the sacrifice. And when you build a mindset that believes that deeply, consistently, habitually, there is nothing you can't accomplish. The fifth habit that will rewire your mindset is the habit of intentional focus. Focus is not just about attention. It's about direction. It's about choosing what matters most and committing your energy to it over and over again, even when everything else is trying to steal it. In a world that's built to distract you, learning how to focus is one of the most powerful advantages you can develop. Because if you can't focus, you can't finish. If you can't focus, you can't build. If you can't focus, you can't grow. Your mindset is shaped by what you give your attention to. And most people spend their day in reaction mode, reacting to emails, to the news, to what other people want, to whatever pops into their mind. Their focus is fractured. Their direction is scattered. And because of that, their results are random. They're busy, but not effective. They're tired, but not fulfilled. They're moving, but not advancing. Intentional focus rewires your brain to work with purpose. It teaches you how to manage your thoughts instead of letting your thoughts manage you. It helps you take control of your time, your tasks, and your mental bandwidth. Because the truth is, every distraction carries a cost. Every time you lose focus, it takes time and energy to return to it. And if that happens enough times, your day is gone before anything meaningful gets done. The most successful people are not the ones who do the most. They are the ones who protect their focus the most. They know what their mission is. They know what their goals are. And they've trained themselves to filter every opportunity, every interruption, every distraction through the lens of, does this move me forward? That kind of clarity doesn't happen by accident. It's built through habit. You build focus by deciding in advance what matters most today and committing to that. You build focus by creating systems and environments that support deep work. You build focus by removing distractions before they even begin. Start with your environment. Clean it up. Clear the clutter. Turn off what doesn't serve you. Make your space a reflection of your priorities. Then look at your calendar. Are you scheduling your values or just reacting to chaos? Are you blocking time for what matters or letting your day be controlled by whatever screams the loudest? Then look at your habits. Do you start your day with intention or with noise? Do you give your best energy to your highest priority or to things that don't even matter an hour later? Your focus is a mirror of your discipline. And every day that you allow distraction to lead, you weaken your ability to stay grounded. Intentional focus means saying no more often, not because you're antisocial, but because you're committed. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much to be careless with your time. Saying no is not a rejection of people. It's a protection of your mission. And the more you practice it, the stronger your clarity becomes. This habit requires managing your internal distractions. The thoughts that pull you away, the fear of missing out, the doubt that makes you jump to the next thing, the anxiety that convinces you you're behind. You must train yourself to come back, to re-anchor. Every time your mind wanders, you bring it back. Not once, not twice, every time. That's the discipline. That's the training. And as you do, something powerful happens. You begin to trust your own focus. You begin to feel calm in the middle of pressure. You begin to finish what you start. You begin to stack wins instead of tasks. You begin to feel momentum, not from rushing, but from being locked in. Focus is how you build mastery. It's how you create results that last. It's how you go deep instead of staying shallow. It's how you make sure that your time doesn't just pass, but that it compounds. Every deep hour of focus pays you back in results, in clarity, in peace. And the more you live this way, the more your mindset shifts. You stop needing urgency to get moving. You stop chasing everything at once. You stop scattering your attention, hoping something works. You become deliberate, precise, powerful, because now your energy has direction, and direction always beats speed. So take back your focus. Start small. 1 block at a time, 1 hour of deep work, 1 day where your decisions reflect your priorities. Protect it, practice it, build it. Because when you train your mind to focus, you rewire it to succeed. The 6th habit that will rewire your mindset is the habit of gratitude. Not as a motivational quote or a once-a-year moment of reflection, but as a daily discipline, a lens, a decision to see what's present instead of what's missing, to focus on what's working instead of what's broken, to recognize the progress instead of just the gap. Gratitude is not passive. It's not soft. It's not just about feeling good. It's a mental weapon, a mindset stabilizer that can ground you when everything else tries to shake you. Most people live in a constant loop of dissatisfaction. They wake up thinking about what they don't have. They go to bed stressed about what didn't get done. They measure their life by comparison and judge their progress by how far they still have to go instead of how far they've come. And because of that, they train their brain to see lack, to focus on flaws, to believe that no matter what happens, it's never enough. But gratitude rewires that loop. It retrains your brain to see what is instead of what isn't. It interrupts the story that says, I'm behind, and replaces it with, I'm becoming. It flips the script from nothing's working to look how much has already changed. And in that shift, your mind begins to stabilize, your emotions begin to regulate, your thoughts begin to support growth instead of sabotage it. Gratitude doesn't eliminate ambition, it elevates it. It gives you fuel. It reminds you of your capacity. It grounds you in truth. Because when you stop long enough to appreciate the resources, people, strengths, and opportunities already in your life, you stop approaching your goals from a place of desperation. You start showing up with confidence, with clarity, with peace. This habit is not something that happens on its own. You must build it. You must practice it. That means writing it down, saying it out loud, training your brain to scan for what's good. Not once in a while, every day. Because whatever you repeat becomes your reflex. And you want your reflex to be strength, not stress. Start small. Write down 3 things every morning that you're grateful for. Not generic things, specific things. Details that connect you to the reality of your own progress. I'm grateful for how I stayed calm during that conversation yesterday. I'm grateful for the opportunity to make this decision today. I'm grateful for the energy I have right now to show up and try again. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding light in the middle of the pressure. It's about reminding yourself that there's always something to build from, even in the middle of struggle. Because mindset isn't built in the absence of challenge. It's built in how you think through it. And gratitude gives your mind something solid to hold on to when everything else feels uncertain. Gratitude changes your emotional baseline. Most people operate from stress, from scarcity, from pressure. Their nervous system is constantly in fight or flight. But when you practice gratitude consistently, you shift that baseline. You calm your system, you increase your resilience, you make it easier to think clearly, respond wisely, and act intentionally. The most grounded people in the world are not the ones who've had it easiest. They're the ones who've learned how to find the good, no matter what's happening. Who've learned how to say, this moment is hard, but it's still a gift. This season is stretching me, but it's still shaping me. This journey is challenging me, but it's also changing me. That mindset isn't a personality trait. It's a habit. And the more you build that habit, the more it becomes your filter. You stop waking up in lack. You stop operating from anxiety. You stop measuring your life by what's missing. You begin to see with clarity. You begin to appreciate the path. You begin to live, not just for the next milestone, but for the moments in between. This is how gratitude rewires your mind. Not through emotion, but through perspective. It teaches your brain to reframe, to zoom out, to see what matters. It reminds you that even though you're not where you want to be, you're not where you used to be either. And that shift, that perspective, that's where strength is built. So protect your gratitude practice. Make it sacred. Make it daily. Use it to lead your emotions. Use it to shift your state. Use it to build the kind of mental fortitude that doesn't just survive hard days, but thrives through them. Because in the end, mindset is not about avoiding struggle. It's about choosing your response. It's about deciding what kind of thoughts you will entertain, what kind of focus you will nurture, and what kind of beliefs you will build your life on. Gratitude is not a feeling. It's a framework. And when you live from that framework, everything changes. The seventh habit that will rewire your mindset is the habit of taking personal responsibility. Not just when things go well, not just when it's convenient, but always. This is the habit of owning your outcomes, your energy, your effort, your decisions, and your direction. Because nothing changes until you do, and nothing gets better until you take responsibility for where you are and what you're doing with it. Most people live in a loop of blame. They point fingers. They deflect accountability. They blame their past, their parents, their boss, the government, the algorithm, their genetics, or the economy. And while they may be right that some of those things had an impact, they are wrong to believe those things have to control the outcome. Blame is the fastest way to stay stuck. It gives your power away. It makes you feel justified in your inaction. It gives you a story to tell yourself for why you can't move forward. But responsibility does the opposite. It takes that power back. It says, maybe I didn't choose the starting point, but I will choose the next step. Responsibility doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means everything is your move. It means even when you didn't cause it, you get to decide how you respond. That's what makes it so powerful. Because if you wait for the world to fix itself before you grow, you'll be waiting forever. But if you decide to grow now, despite everything, you start shifting your life in ways that no one can stop. This habit rewires your mindset by creating ownership. And ownership is the opposite of helplessness. It breaks the cycle of excuses. It dissolves victimhood. It replaces the question, why is this happening to me? With, what am I going to do about it? And in that question, you find momentum. You find clarity. You find power. If you want to change your life, Stop outsourcing your progress. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you confidence or discipline or focus. That is your job. That is your work. That is your responsibility. And the moment you accept that, you start to rise. This doesn't mean you won't have setbacks. It doesn't mean you'll always have control. But it means that when things go wrong, you don't fold. You adjust. You learn. You adapt. You take the hit and then figure out what you're going to do with it. That's the habit. The daily choice to say, this is mine to carry. This is mine to shift. Responsibility sharpens your decisions. It makes you think twice before breaking your word, before blaming someone else, before slipping into patterns that you know don't serve you. Because now you're not just reacting, you're aware, you're leading, you're choosing on purpose. And that kind of mindset compounds. The more you own your time, the more you value it. The more you own your mistakes, the faster you learn from them. The more you own your attitude, the more resilient you become. The more you own your progress, the more powerful your growth becomes. But none of that happens until you stop outsourcing your mindset. Stop saying, it's just the way I am. Start saying, this is how I've been, but I'm in charge now. Stop saying, I'm waiting for the right moment. Start saying, I create my moments. That shift, though small in words, is massive in impact. Personal responsibility means doing the work even when no one is watching. It means staying consistent when no one is applauding. It means being honest with yourself about what needs to change and being willing to change it. Not someday. Now. Because the longer you wait to take ownership, the further you drift from the life you could have built. This habit is not built through motivation. It's built through action. You develop it every time you stop making excuses, every time you stop pointing fingers, every time you stop waiting, every time you ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now to take control of this moment? Some people wait their whole life for things to get better, and they never realize that better doesn't come to you. It comes through you. It shows up when you show up. It begins when you begin. It arrives the moment you stop hoping for a rescue and start taking full responsibility for your rise. This mindset doesn't just build confidence. It builds character. Because now you're not just reacting to life. You're building it. You're designing it. You're shaping it with every choice, every action, every habit. And that kind of mindset doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are. The eighth habit that will rewire your mindset is the habit of emotional regulation. This is the practice of learning how to feel without being controlled, how to process without being paralyzed, how to navigate discomfort without collapsing under it. Because your emotions are not your enemy, but they are not your master either. They are signals, not commands. And unless you train yourself to manage them, they will run your life. Most people are not making decisions. They're reacting to emotions. They're not stuck because they lack ability. They're stuck because they never learned how to manage what they feel. They get triggered and spiral. They feel fear and freeze. They feel anger and explode. They feel doubt and shut down. Not because they're weak, but because they never built the habit of emotional control. Emotional regulation is not about suppressing how you feel. It's not about pretending you're fine when you're not. It's not about avoiding pain or faking peace. It's about giving yourself space between the emotion and the response. It's about recognizing that your first emotional impulse is often not the best guide, and learning how to sit with it without reacting from it. Your mindset is only as strong as your ability to regulate what you feel, because emotions will always come. You will feel fear. You will feel doubt. You will feel overwhelmed, frustrated, tired, uncertain. That's part of being human. But if you can feel those things and still move forward, still act with integrity, still make clear decisions, still show up with purpose, then your mindset becomes unshakable. This habit begins with awareness. You must start naming what you feel. You can't manage what you don't understand. Most people say they're off or stressed or fine, but those words are vague. They don't lead to clarity. You must get specific. I feel anxious because I'm afraid of failing. I feel frustrated because I expected more from myself. I feel sad because something important to me changed. That specificity opens the door to emotional ownership. Then you must learn how to pause. Just a breath, just a beat. That pause gives you power. It gives you space to choose your response instead of defaulting to your old reaction. Most people never pause. They feel and then they act. But the pause is where growth happens. The pause is where you begin to break the pattern. Once you pause, you replace. You shift your focus from what you feel to what you want to create, from what's wrong to what's possible, from the trigger to the solution. This doesn't mean you deny the emotion. It means you don't live in it. You let it pass through you, but you don't let it take the wheel. You need anchors, tools that help you reset when emotions run high. This could be breath work, a walk, a journal, a phone call with someone who grounds you, a phrase you repeat to yourself to center your focus. This feeling is temporary. I am in control of how I respond. This moment is not the end of the story. These anchors become your reset button. Building emotional regulation requires practice in low-stakes moments. Don't wait for the meltdown to start managing your emotions. Practice when it's minor, when the meeting runs late, when someone interrupts you, when traffic is slow. When you feel yourself starting to get frustrated, pause, breathe, choose your response. The more you practice, the stronger the muscle becomes. And over time, you'll notice something shift. You'll stop reacting the same way. You'll stop carrying every small irritation with you. You'll stop letting temporary feelings ruin permanent progress. You'll start leading yourself through situations that used to shut you down. That's the power of this habit. Emotionally regulated people don't live in denial. They just live in control. They feel deeply, but they choose wisely. They don't let a moment of anger destroy a relationship. They don't let fear cancel an opportunity. They don't let anxiety sabotage a conversation. They recognize the emotion, but they choose the action. And that choice creates stability, clarity, and power. Most people are chasing confidence, but what they really need is emotional regulation. Because when you know you can manage yourself under pressure, your confidence grows. When you stop being afraid of how you'll respond, you feel stronger. When you learn how to stay grounded in the middle of chaos, you develop a level of inner peace that can't be shaken by circumstance. This habit won't make emotions disappear, but it will teach you that you are stronger than them, that you don't have to be ruled by what you feel, that your emotions are a message, but not the truth, that you can listen without obeying, that you can feel without breaking. And once you internalize that, you become dangerous. You become clear. You become someone who doesn't fall apart when things get hard. The ninth habit that will rewire your mindset is the habit of keeping promises to yourself. This isn't just about goals or checklists. It's about trust, about the relationship you have with you. Because every time you say you're going to do something and you don't, you send a message to your subconscious. My word doesn't matter. And over time, that message becomes your mindset. The most powerful people in the world are not those who always feel confident. They're the ones who've trained themselves to trust their own word. When they say they'll show up, they do. When they say they'll follow through, they do. Not just when it's convenient, not just when it's easy, but always. That consistency doesn't just build results, it builds identity. Most people are great at keeping promises to other people, but terrible at keeping them to themselves. They'll never cancel on someone else, but they'll cancel on their own growth. They'll never break a deadline for someone else's needs, but they'll break their own habits without hesitation. They'll make commitments in moments of motivation and then abandon them in moments of discomfort. This habit changes that. It rewires your internal standard. It tells your brain, when I say it, I mean it. And that simple shift begins to change everything. You no longer need to feel motivated to take action. You just need to decide. And once that decision is made, it's as good as done. It starts with small promises. I will wake up when I said I would. I will go to the gym when I said I would. I will do the work even if I don't feel like it. And when you do, when you keep those small promises, you start to shift your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, and that belief compounds. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen the belief that you are consistent, that you are disciplined, that you can be counted on, even by you. And when that belief gets strong enough, it overrides the doubt, the fear, the hesitation, because you've trained yourself to act no matter what. This habit isn't about perfection. You will mess up. You will miss sometimes. But when you do, you don't spiral. You don't give up. You recommit. You get back up. You remind yourself that one broken promise doesn't have to become a pattern. You take responsibility, you adjust, and you keep going. Keeping promises to yourself means respecting your boundaries. If you said you wouldn't answer calls after a certain time, don't. If you said you'd take time to rest, do it. If you said you'd stop saying yes when you mean no, stand firm. These are not just boundaries. They're self-trust rituals. And every time you honor them, you rebuild your relationship with yourself. Because that relationship matters more than any other. If you don't trust you, nothing else lasts. You can build the business, hit the goals, get the applause. But if deep down you know you're still not following through, that gap will eat you alive. It will show up in your confidence, in your focus, in your peace. Self-trust isn't about having all the answers. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you'll show up. That even when it's hard, you won't abandon yourself. That when you make a promise, you'll do everything in your power to keep it. That kind of trust rewires your identity from the inside out. This habit builds credibility with others, because the way you treat yourself is the standard for how others will treat you. If you don't value your word, neither will they. If you're not committed to your habits, neither will they be. But when people see that your word means something, that you follow through, that you honor your standard, they start to treat you differently. And more importantly, you treat yourself differently. You stop making excuses. You stop shrinking your goals. You stop hesitating, because now your word has weight. And when your word has weight, your decisions carry power. You no longer ask yourself, can I do this? You ask, what do I need to do next? So make fewer promises, but stronger ones. Don't overcommit. Don't chase every goal. Don't write a list of 100 things you'll never finish. Choose a few things that matter, and then commit to them like your life depends on it. Because, in a way, it does. Your future depends on the strength of your current follow-through. This habit is a mindset shift. From feeling like your progress depends on motivation, to knowing it depends on integrity. From hoping you'll follow through, to expecting that you will. From treating your own commitments as optional, to treating them as sacred. That's what rewires your mind. Not waiting for inspiration, not chasing perfection, but showing up when you said you would, especially when it's hard, because that's when it matters most. That's when your new identity is being built. And once that identity is solid, nothing can stop you. The 10th habit that will rewire your mindset is the habit of acting before you feel ready. It is the practice of taking imperfect action, of moving forward when there's still doubt, of stepping into the unknown without a guarantee. Because if you wait until you're ready, you'll wait forever. Readiness is a myth. It's a trap. It's the excuse your mind gives you to stay safe, stay small, stay stuck. Most people spend their lives preparing to start. They study, they plan, they think, they wait. They wait until the fear goes away, until they have more time, until they feel more confident, until the path is clearer. But the truth is, the fear never fully goes away. The time never feels perfect. The confidence doesn't come before the action. It comes because of the action. Your mind is built to protect you. It wants safety, predictability, familiarity. So when you try to step into something new, it will send you fear, doubt, hesitation. Not because you're weak, but because you're stepping beyond what your nervous system understands. And if you don't take action anyway, your life becomes a loop, full of potential, full of ideas, full of hope, but empty of results. This habit is about building the muscle of motion, training yourself to move, not perfectly, but decisively. Not when it's comfortable, but when it's necessary. Not when the plan is flawless, but when the decision aligns with your vision. Because action creates clarity. Action creates momentum. Action gives your mind something new to work with. When you act before you feel ready, you create a shift. You tell your brain, we don't need more validation to move. You tell your fear, you're not the one leading anymore. You stop needing every answer. You start trusting your ability to figure it out along the way. And that trust becomes your new baseline. Every breakthrough you admire, every success story you've ever seen started the same way. Someone said yes before they had it all figured out. Someone walked through the door even when their hands were shaking. Someone took the first step with no idea what the second would look like. And because they moved, they grew. Because they acted, they learned. Because they started, they created something worth continuing. This habit doesn't mean being reckless. It means being courageous. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision that fear won't decide. Courage says, yes, I'm nervous, but I'm still moving. Yes, I have doubts, but I'm still doing the work. Yes, I'm uncomfortable, but I trust that discomfort is part of the process. When you wait to feel ready, your mindset weakens. You teach your brain that comfort comes first. You reinforce the belief that fear must be solved before progress can happen. But when you act in the presence of fear, when you walk forward anyway, you build strength, you build evidence, you build a story of resilience. The more you act in uncertainty, the less afraid you become of it. The more you move without guarantees, the more you prove to yourself that you can figure things out as you go. That you don't need a clear path to make progress. That you don't need perfect timing to begin. You just need the discipline to move. Train yourself to take the first step, not the 10th, not the 100th, just the first. And once you're moving, you adjust, you learn, you grow. But none of that can happen if you stay in your head waiting for permission. The breakthrough doesn't come before the action. It comes because of it. The people who rise are not the ones who had the most information. They're the ones who acted. They're the ones who said yes before they had all the answers. They're the ones who failed forward, who figured it out in motion, who treated every mistake as data instead of a dead end. They're the ones who lived by the habit of doing what needed to be done, especially when they didn't feel ready. You build this habit by lowering the activation threshold, by making movement easier than inaction. You break your goals into pieces. You shrink the resistance. You say, I don't have to write the book today. I just have to open the file. I don't have to build the whole system. I just have to take one step. That momentum creates its own motivation. And once you start living this way, your mindset changes. You stop needing perfect conditions. You stop waiting for the stars to align. You start building the habit of trust, not in circumstances, but in yourself. You become someone who moves, someone who builds, someone who shows up regardless of how they feel. This is how you rewire the fear of failure. You stop treating failure as something to avoid. You start treating it as a part of the process. You realize that every successful person has a history of starting before they were ready. You realize that every next level of your life requires a new level of courage, and that courage doesn't wait for readiness. So stop waiting. Start. Even if it's messy, even if you're unsure, even if your voice shakes, even if you don't know what's next. You don't need clarity to begin. You need movement to find it. The habit of acting before you're ready isn't a motivational trick. It's a lifestyle. And once you embrace it, your whole mindset evolves. You've now seen 10 habits, 10 principles that don't just change behavior, but change belief. They don't just improve results. They rewire the system that creates results. This is not about doing a little better. It's about becoming someone different, someone sharper, someone stronger, someone with a mind that no longer works against them, but works for them. Because when your mind changes, everything changes. You stop moving in circles. You stop doubting every step. You stop living in the tension between who you are and who you could be. And you start aligning. You start showing up. You start living with the kind of clarity, confidence, and consistency that most people never find. Not because they're not capable, but because they never commit to the habits that unlock it. That's what this seminar has been about. Not tricks, not hacks, not moments of motivation that fade tomorrow, but real, grounded, repeatable action. Habits, practices, disciplines that stack, that reinforce, that shift your identity from the inside out. It starts with awareness, habit 1, because you can't change what you don't see. And once you see, you reframe, habit 2. You learn to tell yourself a better story. Then you master self-talk, habit 3. You speak life, not limitation. And then you build delayed gratification, habit 4. You train yourself to crave long-term wins over short-term comfort. You sharpen your focus, habit 5. You eliminate the noise, you protect your attention. Then you practice gratitude, habit 6. You stop chasing fulfillment in the future and find it in the present. You take full responsibility, Habit 7. You stop waiting and start owning. And you learn emotional regulation. Habit 8. You build strength not by avoiding feeling, but by learning how to feel without falling apart. Then you keep your promises. Habit 9. You build the most important trust of all. Trust with yourself. And finally, you move. Habit 10. You act before you feel ready. Because you know that forward is the only direction that builds a mindset worth having. These 10 habits are not temporary strategies. They are tools to build a permanent shift. They are the foundations of a mindset that creates winners. Not by accident, but by habit. You may not master all of them today. You don't have to. You just have to begin. Pick one. Apply it. Practice it. And then build from there. Stack the next one and the next. Because with every habit, you are rewiring. With every choice, you are transforming. With every step, you are becoming. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are building. And now you know exactly how to do it. 10 habits, one new mindset, a completely different life. It begins now.